Okay, so looking at Acts 14, 21 through 23, this idea of them encouraging the disciples so they continue in the faith. What does continuing in the faith look like, and what does it require? What does continuing in the faith and the faithfulness of the Messiah, what does that even look like, and then what does it require? What does it require? You could ask the question, what does it require of the apostles who are trying to stir it up? What does it require of the disciples that are supposed to be performing this action of continuing in the faithfulness of the Messiah, continuing in the faith? Okay? Here's a direct answer. It looks like continuing in the labor of faithfulness. Okay? The Messiah came to do the labor of faithfulness, so it's continuing in the work that the Messiah started. Messiah, he began a work that we continue. Okay? So it looks like continuing the labor of the faithfulness, building up the church, which is the tower in Messiah's metaphor, after having counted the cost. And I'll say what I mean by that. In Luke 14, it's going to say, don't try to build a tower without counting the cost of the materials and the labor and the work and all this kind of stuff, lest you start the process and halfway through abandon it. Okay? We don't want that to happen. So continuing in the faithfulness is continuing the labor of faithfulness. Okay? Who is the first laborer in the faith? Who is the author of our faith and the finisher of it?
Jesus.
Yeah, Yeshua, the Messiah. The Messiah began, and 1 Thessalonians would say this in chapter 1, the work of faith, the labor of faithfulness. The Messiah began this work. He is called the way. So the work that he began was a forerunner in, we continue in. What's he doing? Very simple. He's the Davidic Messiah. He's building a temple. He's building a temple. That's his whole ministry. He's building a temple. Is the temple completed? No. So we continue in the work of the Messiah, the work of faithfulness that was initiated, building a temple for Yahweh to dwell in by the Holy Spirit. Okay, and we build up the church, which is the tower in that metaphor. So we build up the assembly. We build up the local community of followers, those who are called out. Okay, and we do that after counting the cost. Okay, and I'm going to say this again. It's kind of like a too long didn't read version. This is what it means to continue in the faith. Do kingdom labor as a faithful worker. Do kingdom labor as a faithful worker. You can hear in that sentence two parts. An individual part, a faithful worker, but then we hear the phrase kingdom labor. This isn't about, a kingdom is a complicated network of persons. It's not about a bunch of individuals just doing their own thing. Okay? It's under the authority of the king living in unity. So you have this idea of the role of an individual, but within a complicated corporate structure, which is a kingdom. Okay, so you got to expand the kingdom of Yeshua partnered with King Messiah. Okay? This is partly why we can continue in the faithfulness of the Messiah. This is why Messiah authored faithfulness in that sense. He began the good work. He began this work that we continue in, partnered with him. Okay? He's the one who catalyzed, birthed, brought into being this kingdom, and we continue expanding it. Okay? So you got to expand the kingdom of Yeshua, partnered with King Messiah. Labor. Okay. GoPro, stop recording.